Hi team, Kris Rasmussen here, Principal at Professionals Real Estate, and welcome along to a monthly video update, this time for June 2017. The year is flying past, but we're not going to get into that. I'm going to talk about obviously the stats this month as per normal. I also want to talk about 3D imaging. So what we're doing with those 3D home tours, we've now got some stats out of that which are fantastic. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. I also want to talk to you about the AREC Real Estate Conference. That's the second biggest real estate conference in the world. 4,500 people attended it in the Gold Coast. Three of those 4,500 people, one was myself, one was Shannon, and one was Sarah. So we went over and had a look there. And then the other one, well, the final thing I want to talk about this month is the question we get asked all the time around this time of year is, should we sell in winter? So I'm going to talk to you about that as well. So, our May 2017 sales stats. New Plymouth City had 88 sales in May, compared with 80 in April. So it's slightly up there, but if you compare it with May 2016, so this time a year ago, there were 96 sales. So it is slightly down on year. The median sale price for May 2017 in New Plymouth City was $420,000. So that's slightly up on April, where it was $410,000, and the median GV was $365,000. So for you mathematicians, that means the percentage above GV was around 15% on top. So that's pretty good there. Median days to sell was 32. Bell Block. Now Bell Block had 17 sales in May, which is up on April where there were 10 sales. Median sale price was $400,000, which is down on their April. They were $412,000, so slightly down. But again, not too much different to New Plymouth City. So like I've always said, bit of a suburb of New Plymouth. Percentage above GV was calculated at 16%, so again, aligning with New Plymouth City. Median days to sell out there, that shot out actually, that went out to 43. If you remember in April it was like 17, so remember it's only 1 month, so don't get too excited, but yeah, 43 for the month out there. When we come to Taranaki, the median sale price was $355,000, which is slightly up on the month of April, where it was $345,000, but still there or thereabouts. Auckland median sale price was $865,000, so slightly up on April's $854,500, which was what I reported last month. Obviously, you know my interest is around the number of sales coming out of Auckland, because we have that kind of halo effect. The number of sales out of Auckland last time I reported was quite low because it was only 1,775. That was for April. Pleased to say this month it has increased. It's gone to 2,227 sales there. But then I compared that against May 2016 to have a look there. The sales were just over 3,000, so still well down on the year before. Nationally, so all of New Zealand, the national median sale price was $540,000, which is exactly the same as April's result. So bang on there. Median days to sell was 37 days. When compared with May 2016, it's only 5 days longer, so not a huge difference there. So we're definitely having things still sell within the province and obviously outside as well. I guess probably not quite as rampant as it was for the buyers, but people are still, the buyers are still coming to good quality homes, and as long as they're priced fairly, they're still definitely reacting. So things are still happening as we see it right now. Whether that will change in winter, that's something we'll discuss probably a little bit more when I talk about winter selling. Now 3D imaging, we have been doing this for a little while. It's our walkthrough tours. This technology really is fantastic. We're now seeing great results with this. Before I give you some stats that we've got, I want to share a couple of stories with you. On 2 occasions this has happened. Now normally when a buyer buys a home, there's somebody that's influential in helping them make those decisions. So the thing about this 3D Matterport that we've found, that it's something I didn't really think of, but what happens is sometimes those influential people actually aren't in New Plymouth or in Taranaki, so they can't come and visit the home. So I've had a couple of occasions personally where they've looked at the property and they've either been overseas or outside the province. These influential people have said to these buyers, we've had a look through this 3D imaging, we think the property looks great, go ahead, they give it the thumbs up. So that just helps them in making those decisions to put an offer in on our vendor's home, and then that buyer is encouraged by that person that they use as influence to help buy a home that they're looking for. So that's really good, and it was something I didn't actually think of too much. We sometimes have a bit of concern. People say, oh, if we have this 3D imaging, you know, what's that going to do to my open home numbers? What's that going to do to my private visits? And it's a valid point. You know, what does that happen? What we've discovered, though, is that, yes, that may stop its numbers slightly, maybe, but what we've discovered is we have more serious buyers. So when buyers come through, they have no surprises. And whether we think everyone loves a surprise, actually not when they're buying a home. So if they go through a property and the door is closed from the living area into a room, they don't know what that is behind the room. And it actually might be a bedroom or whatever it might be. And when they come along to the property and they go through, they're like, oh, I don't like that. But with the 3D imaging, if they've been through the home, they know exactly what it looks like. They know exactly the way that it flows. They've normally gone through the home several times, and they're not getting those surprises. So when they come through the home, instead of being let down for some reason with a surprise, they're still staying amped on the property and working through it. So working really, really well. I always say you don't want 1,000 lookers, you just want the 2 or 3 or 4 serious buyers. So yes, you might not have quite the numbers that you're getting, but we're getting probably the serious buyers along, and that's fantastic for us when we're selling your home. Now Sunday Star Times ran an article on this, which was on the 4th of June, which was really good, interesting. The article was around the way people view houses for sale is changing. I reported when I went to New York in the Inman's conference, it's the real estate conference overseas around technology, etc. I talked about VR, or virtual reality, and how much of that is coming, and that's part of this 3D imaging. They're saying sellers are taking a different approach to marketing their houses, and buyers are starting to catch on, and they really are. VR experience is expected to grow quick and fast. Now, realestate.co.nz, which is our biggest property portal in New Zealand, the Chief Operating Officer, Peter Magan, has talked about that not only local buyers, but out-of-town buyers and overseas buyers are really enjoying this. He knows personally of 2 homes that have sold without the buyer actually even going through the property. Now that hasn't happened here, don't take that wrong, and I'm not saying that it would, but showing that these guys are now getting these reports is showing how much this is working. He believes that's proof that, you know, it's in the pudding really, that it's happening. The biggest thing that's happened is people are starting to get what it is now, and it's not a hard thing anymore. It's not some crazy science fiction, it's some easy, approachable thing. He anticipated VR, or virtual reality, would take off in a big way. Buyers have started loading VR files and using their own VR headsets, while some are using to view the houses 2D on any device. So when we mean 2D, we're talking about on your laptop or your tablet or whatever that may be. And that's what we're seeing a lot of. We're not seeing the virtual reality stuff yet, but in saying that, I definitely think it's coming, and it's something that we need to kind of keep an eye on. What's good about that though is, you know, we've now got some stats. So we've got about 80 properties that we've 3D imaged through. Of those 80 properties, we've had 16,300 visits to those properties. So that's a lot of people. If we were open homing those properties up, that's a lot of people coming through. One of the latest properties that we've just sold, so I thought let's just pick one of the latest ones we've sold there. It was on the market for 12 days. Our 3D walkthrough had 326 visits, and of those visits, 276 of them were unique. So someone had come back sometime. There's 50 odd of those visits that were repeat visits, but there was 276 unique visits. Well, I can tell you, even with the great team I've got, I'm not sure we could do 326 visits to your home in 12 days. So that's fantastic, fantastic stats. I'm really glad we started this early. I'm glad we made the decision to realise that digital marketing is really where it's going, because we're really advanced in it from where we were, and we've got some great results for our vendors in a short time frame as well, and our numbers are really speaking for ourselves. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that 3D imaging. I think it's really something you need to talk, whatever realtor you use, I don't care, but just make sure you're talking around that too, because it's something you need to be a part of. AREC, so the Australian conference, now the second biggest conference in the world. Some amazing speakers, there was no doubt about that. Shannon Ryan, Sarah Korf and myself went along. It was in the Gold Coast. Some great learnings we've taken from that, and I'm already excited about implementing some of that into our business, and that will be coming, so watch this space. We go to these things really just to make sure we keep up to date with the most innovative systems, the technology. We want to make sure our clients have the empowerment to make decisions that are the best for them. And things are happening in any industry, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, things advance pretty quickly. So when it comes to people's property and their personal goals, we want to help them with that. So great things there. Winter selling. Now we get asked this question every year, is winter a good time to sell? Now I know we're all house proud, there's no doubt about that. I know I am, everybody I meet is, but a lot of selling properties around supply and demand. Yeah, so if that makes sense, when you haven't got a lot of supply, the demand's there, and that's what helps to achieving a great price. Now winter historically has less people coming onto the market because we're all waiting for spring and the flowers to come out, etc. But our buyers are still here, and they're still here now. So with less houses on the market, winter can in fact be a very good time to sell. What we're experiencing with the buyers still being around, and what I can tell you now, as I've reported, I think that if you're looking at going to the market, you're not going to be disadvantaged by going on in winter. So I kind of hope that answers your question. Look, our staff and agents, they're all trained and experienced around presenting a home in winter, so you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So that's it for me this month, team. As always, I hope you have a great month. If you have any questions or need to talk to any of my team, just give us a call at the office. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next month. Cheers.